Hey, what's up? This is Tony making food Mata. A little bit of Tony Talk, a modified view in the culinary industry. So again, I'm kind of double whammy in this. A little YouTube action, a little bit of podcast action. Let's just get it done. So today we're going to kind of talk about bonds. Bonds you make with your cooks, your line cooks, dishwashers, your chefs, people above you, people below you, just all around bonds that you make while going to war on the line. So you decide to be a cook, a chef. When I first came on the line, I had a lot of older guys that were on the line. Some of them had tattoos all over their arms. Some of them, wore the bandana. Some of them smoked cigarettes back in the day. And those first impressions with some of those guys were like, whoa, what did I get myself into? Like, this guy's talking about doing all sorts of crazy stuff with somebody he just met, and like, cook life, it's chef life, it's kind of restaurant industry, it's like it gets a stipulation about sex, drugs, rock and roll. And I mean, it's kind of true. It kind of is. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, cooking food for people. I guess it kind of all goes hand in hand. So when I first came on board, looking up to those older cooks, moving from restaurant to restaurant, there'd always be like that one guy who's solid like gung-ho cook guy. The other guy is just a toxic guy, as talked about before, has just been there and just miserable at life. And then you got the playboy, the smooth talker, the one hanging out with all the waitresses and stuff like that. Then you got the newbie, which was for the most part, it was always me. Moving around when I was younger, when I went from job to job between like 19 and 23, 24, and I was that new guy. And then you just had like that one guy who, just was very dependable, and he just was happy with what he did, and he just didn't really want to do anything else, and he just was just like, whatever, I'm cooking, and that's generally like the types of cooks that you have like on your line, like a series of those guys, maybe one or two of them like interchanged, so like those are like the people that you have. Oh, and then you always have like the pothead guy or somebody who's on drugs or something, and that's just a whole nother addiction. I don't really want to say pot, but that's like a thing. It's legal. I don't really want to condone any of that. I don't smoke the devil's lettuce, but talking about like drugs, like pills and stuff like that, like just like it's addiction. It's a whole nother story. Whole nother podcast. But getting off subject here. So these bonds, like you got these guys that you work with, and I've met some really, really like badass like female line cooks. One comes to my mind, Brenda. Brenda at Wolfgang Puck. That girl, like she was the saute cook. And we're talking like 100-pound, like 5'2" girl, running a saute station, running circles around these old men or these men in a male-dominated industry. This cook, Brenda, saute cook, she just owned it. She owned it. And she could hang, she could drink, I miss cooking with her. But it's like, you like have these bonds with people and these relationships, like moving up the ranks. I would, like get stuck with somebody next to somebody. I remember my first cook job. The older guys were like the more experienced. I was just on the fryers. This one kid that I worked with, he was younger than me, total opposite of me. Because at that time, it's like I was burnout, stoner, whatever. 2019, just graduated high school. This guy was like a jock. Like he was like a legit jock football player, dude. And I had to cook with him side by side. And here you go. You got two people who would never, ever, I wouldn't hang out with the dude. Like I legit, like I would in high school or like whatever, like even in my own circle, I would not have ever hung out with that guy. But day in, day out, I'm working right next to this guy. Day in, day out, I'm working next to him. We're going to war, and everything flows away. It doesn't matter about like your background or who you are or what your social status is or if you're a jock, burnout, nerd, dweeb, musclehead, motorhead, whatever you are. Like, if you go to war with that person sitting right next to you every single day, you're going to have a bond. Like, you are going to have a bond, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. I cannot stress like that tightness, that's good. And then let's say like I think he ended up like going off to the Navy or something in the forces, and like he left, and like, man, it's kind of like a breakup. And then now I have to get used to somebody else's, vibe, like, I don't know. It's tight. It gets tight behind those lines, man. Like, you get very close with people, and like when he left, it kind of was like he broke up with me. It's stupid as this sounds. And then I had another guy come in, and it was cool. We jived. It was good because as I said, you get to know these people. But like that first cook bond that I had with Ron, if that's his name, it was good. It was good. It was really, really good working with that. So you can see that I'm very passionate about this, and those bonds are good. So, then when I left, I went over to Henry Ford, and I, started making these other bonds with people. Now, when I worked at DeLuca's, it was just line cook, dishwasher, moved up to line cook, and then like now, and DeLuca's, don't get me wrong, like their back of the house system is so flawless. It's they've been around for years, but the way that they run their line, I got the 5 people on the line, you got 5 dishwashers, you got 2 pantry people on a busy Saturday night. You got the 5 pizza cooks. You got the old ladies that come in the morning and they make the soup and stuff. You got guys that come in and make fresh dough every single day. And then you got the cooks during the day who would cook banquets for their banquets because they were a dinner restaurant. Man, that business example, that business structure that they have and how they run their kitchen, I'd mimic it. If I own my own stuff, so hats off, guys. Good job. But when I left there, I ended up going to Henry Ford Museum, and then that's when I met a chef, Chef Alex. And Chef Alex was kind of like my mentor. And, we had that bond. We had that bond together. He ended up taking me under his wing, showing me some things. So he's seen something in me. But like at that time, like I said, like I worked at the Henry Ford Museum for about a year. year and a half. But I live downtown, downtown Dearborn, in the heyday of downtown Dearborn, going to Howell's, going to Bailey's, going to Beer Garden, going to Chelly's when they just opened. When Chelly's was hopping, I actually worked there for a minute. But I was more interested in just hanging out with the girls and drinking beers and stuff like that. So after working there for a year and a half, creating that bond with Chef Alex, I didn't show up for one of my shifts one day, and then he had to terminate me. That's what he had to do. But over that year and a half that I worked with him, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him, and him kind of taking me under his wing, and he is one of the main reasons why I became a cook. And his style, all the chef styles that I've learned from, I try to emulate him a little bit, and he inspired me. So thank you, Alex. And Alex said to me when he fired me, because we had that bond, talking about bonds, you know what, Tone? This is what he said. He said, you know what, Tone? He calls me on the phone. Actually, I called him because I was 4 hours late to a party of 5,000 out in the village. I got drunk. I didn't wake up in time. I was hanging out with a girl. I woke up with her next to me. I said, oh my God, I'm 4 hours late to work. She said, baby, gotta go. I said, let me call up Alex. So I called up Chef. I said, Chef, hey, what's up? He said, you're kind of at your limit on points, and this is technically a no-call, no-show. This is pretty standard. I'm sorry, you're over your points. I have to let you go. He said, I don't want to do this, but attendance policy, my friends. See, attendance policy. I talked about it in one of my other episodes. So he said, I can't do anything about the attendance policy. Unfortunately, I have to terminate you. You're a great guy. I see something in you, but until you get your shit together, then I can't have you work for me. I can't have you work for me. You can use me as a reference, but I will never hire you until you get your shit together. So that bond, these bonds that we have with people, chefs, it's amazing. And for Chef Alex to say, hey, you can use me as on your resume as a reference, but I won't hire you again. That's kind of cool, because we had that bond. When I worked at Albert's, we had the best team when we were at the pinnacle of our success. When Albert's was doing $2 million a year. I don't know how that guy messed it up, but when we were doing $2 million a year, $250,000 in food, and we had the best team, the best team ever. Chef Darren at the helm, Tommy Lightpants, hey man, he was even doing well. He wasn't smoking cigarettes outside anymore. He wasn't hiding desserts in the microwave. He wasn't keeping soda in his lowboy. Or Tom's favorite thing was, hey, drop 3 chicken tenders for a salad. I need one. Drop 3 chicken tenders, and then go back down to his station later on, and I'd see a half-eaten chicken tender in his lowboy. Tom was a scam artist. Me and Tom ended up becoming very, very close over the years because of these bonds. So we had the dream team at Albert's. You had Nick, Brandon, Jason, Gil, Mike Walls, Dakota, Barback Dakota, Prep Guy Dakota, even our dish team, Dishwasher Dave, Mark. We had a good, solid team. And it was, at the end of the day, what we would do, hey, you're getting off at 1, you're getting off at midnight. Let's have a beer. Let's drink some beers, talk to the waitresses. When I worked at Albert's, I lived 4 blocks away, so it was very convenient for me to go home. I wouldn't drink and drive. I would walk home, ride my bike, have a waitress drive me home. Sometimes the waitresses would come over to my house afterwards, have people over. What are you doing after work? I don't know. You want to get a 6-pack to go? Yeah, let's get a 6-pack to go. So then you'd hang out, and then these people become your family. They become your family and your friends. And at Albert's, like, I have so many memories of that place, and I have like some of the bonds that I've had there. I was there 10 years. Like, it was great. It was great. Katie Gaz put me in the friend zone. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Wouldn't change it for the world. So those are bonds that are with your peers. And then there's also the other bond that you have with your chef. With your chef as a mentor. And I feel that I'm lucky enough I have, people under me. I hope that they kind of look up towards me, and that's why I lead by example a lot. I do these things. Like that bond that you have with your chef, sous chef, is it's like a father or a mother like relationship, I feel. Personally, this is my opinion. Like, great example, Chef Joel. Chef Joel Wolfgang Puck, he was 2 years younger than me. And for me to take orders, direction for somebody that was younger than me, moving up in the ranks, it was kind of hard for that, but out of respect for the chef life and the bond, yes, chef. Yes, chef. Chef Joel, what do you want me to do? And this chef, Chef Joel, he was fantastic. And sometimes I would ask him, like, Chef, how do you come up with some of these ideas? Like, what do you do? I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how your brain works, and I don't understand how you come up with these ideas. And he's like, well, sometimes I just sit at home, and while I'm watching TV or whatever, he just thinks. And he thinks about how many ways can I utilize this lemon in a cooking technique or this item in whatever. And what can we do? Can you use the peel? Can you use the juice? Can you char it? What do you need to do with this lemon? And that was a really good piece of advice that Chef Joel gave me. And like that, he like inspired me to be better as a chef. And I take some of his cooking techniques his leadership abilities, some of Chef Darren's techniques, his leadership abilities, Chef Alex, his leadership ability, Chef Mike, nope, sorry guy, I don't really draw any inspiration from you. Sorry, bro. Everything not to do. Thank you. Well, actually, I guess you did show me something, so I guess I did learn something from you. That's a whole nother story. So, the bond with like the sous chef or the chef sous chef, it's intimate too, And when I left MGM, just like when the first line cook Ron left me as my partner in crime at my first cook job. Like, I left a family, and it was sad. It was sad and it was scary. But moving forward for me, I had to go forward. They shut my restaurant down. They were going to shut my restaurant down. They were going to shut it down without telling me. I had to go. But that bond that I had, Chef Joel, Chef Duncan, Chef Damon, Chef Nick, those guys were some of the coolest chefs that I've worked with. And the team that we had, we just ran it so tight. And then I leave Wolfgang Puck. And then who do I find out that's working at Kid Rock with me opening it up, Chef Nick. And I was like, man, I'm in culinary school with you. We see you get promoted from saute cook to sous chef at Wolfgang Puck. And then now you're with me at Kid Rock opening this up. But it's alright. He was like that brother that I could not get rid of. But me and Chef Nick had a nice bond. And we had the summer of the Joe 17. And I wouldn't change that for the world either. So that was just some of the insights, some of the feelings that I get. And obviously you guys can tell that I feel very passionate about these things. I have to let you guys know about these things because chef life is chef life. But like, sometimes you just don't get it, and I want people to get it and understand it. So, once again, this is Tony Making Food Mata, a little bit of Tony Talk, a modified view on bonds in the culinary world. So thank you. Have a good day.